65 years after a cataclysmic nuclear war tore the old world apart, humanity crawled from the ashes divided. On top sat the genetics, genetically engineered, intellectually superior, and groomed to rule. At the absolute bottom were the specials, unaltered, ordinary humans treated as disposable grease in the gears of the new society. Among them was Leon, a paraplegic special working a thankless job as a janitor at the Genesis Institute, the planet's premier genetics laboratory. During a routine student tour, Leon and his adoptive sister Chloe made their move. While Chloe distracted the group, Leon bypassed security into a restricted wing, using a gas toy mouse to instantly drop 2 guards, before rigging the central oxygen line to plunge the entire floor into sleep. Lacking the final vault code, Leon pinged Chloe. She intentionally provoked an arrogant genetics student, sparking a classroom brawl that forced the head guard to intervene. In the chaos, Chloe deftly lifted the guard's notebook, copied the master bypass code, and beamed it to Leon. The vault opened to reveal a glass dome housing a radiant tree of Genesis flowers, the legendary energy source used to rebuild civilization. Leon sliced the glass and snatched a sample, triggering a lockdown. Blending into the panicked evacuation, Leon slickly hid the flower inside Chloe's teddy bear. A guard stopped him at the gates over a ticking sound, but when Leon pulled out his mother's antique watch engraved with "We are all equal," the guard mocked it as worthless trash and waved him through. Safe in the surveillance-heavy Special District slums, Chloe watched Senator Kessler champion Proposal 42, a serum promising to rewrite special DNA for true equality. Chloe felt a glimmer of hope, but Leon muttered, "Empty promises." In his basement workshop, Leon used the Genesis sample to engineer high-tech prosthetic and robotic armor, building a booming underground business for desperate specials. Late one night, a panicked special working as a cook in the wealthy genetics district offered triple rates for an emergency exoskeleton repair. Ignoring Chloe's warnings, Leon slipped through a hidden transit tunnel with her. Leon was tightening the final bolts when radical anti-genetics terrorists stormed the kitchen, executing staff. The cook rushed to defend his business, but stumbled back bleeding out, warning them of a purge before dying. With security closing in and the back door dead, Leon dragged himself into the heavy exoskeleton, standing on 2 feet for the first time in his life. A violent armor glitch exposed them to the death squad. The leader ordered them killed, but Leon detonated into action, using the heavy robotic suit to crush the attackers. Before fleeing into the rainy night with Chloe, Leon ripped away the leader's mask, catching sight of a prominent, jagged facial scar. Back in the slums, a breaking news report identified them as the restaurant massacre suspects. The broadcast featured an interview with Captain Hughes, the decorated head of Special Forces. Leon froze. The face on the screen bore the exact same scar as the terrorist leader. Hughes was playing both sides, staging attacks on genetics to manufacture a genocide against the specials. Leon realized Hughes needed a catastrophic event to justify his purge, and Chloe knew exactly where it would happen: the stadium concert of her favorite singer, Myra, who openly supported the specials. Leon's survival instinct kicked in, and he coldly ordered Chloe to pack her bags so they could flee the city. "Thousands of innocents will die," she yelled, branding him a coward before slamming the door. Her words echoed in the silence. Leon looked at his unfinished prototype armor, gripped his tools, and went to work. Hours later, Hughes's men cornered Myra outside her tour bus, ordering her to submit or die. "Step away from her," a booming metallic voice echoed from above. A cloaked figure clad in iron armor and a heavy hood dropped from the sky, locking his boots into the asphalt. It was Leon. The terrorists laughed as tiny, fragile flowers began sprouting from the joints of his makeshift suit. The laughter stopped when the blossoms ruptured, firing a volley of toxic leaves and suffocating root systems that entangled the mercenaries. While Leon held the line, Chloe materialized in a stolen sedan, pulling Myra into the back seat and picking up Leon before speeding back into the slums. Safe in the workshop, Myra was stunned to learn that her government protectors were actually her executioners, but the conspiracy ran deeper. A live broadcast featured Senator Kessler expressing horror over Myra's disappearance, promising to push Proposal 42 forward at the Municipal Family Planning Center the following morning. Leon knew the play. Hughes was going to assassinate the senator next. The next morning, Leon and Myra infiltrated the high-security center, disguised as an eccentric rapper and his partner seeking genetic upgrades. To protect the civilian crowd from the impending ambush, Leon commandeered the facility's intercom, announcing a surprise, exclusive live performance by Myra in the main auditorium. As the crowds and security staff evacuated the halls to watch, Leon shed his disguise and bolted into his heavy battle armor. He met Hugh's strike team alone in the main corridor. Loading his gauntlets with Chloe's bioengineered plant toxins, Leon unleashed a dense cloud of paralyzing green smoke. He broke through their front lines, but the sheer weight of enemy numbers overwhelmed his suit's power core. The mercenaries brought him to his knees. Hughes stepped forward, tearing Leon's iron mask away and brutally beating him into the marble floor. Just before the killing blow, heavy government gunships breached the skylights, forcing the terrorists to scatter. Senator Kessler rushed into the corridor, breathing a sigh of relief at the sight of Leon's face. The ultimate card was turned. Kessler was Leon's biological father. Myra had secretly tipped off the senator about Hughes's true identity. Chloe entered the bloody hallway just in time to see Leon surrounded by the political elite. Misunderstanding the scene, she assumed Leon had sold them out to his highborn father, and vanished into the crowd, heartbroken. The next day, Leon woke up inside Kessler's pristine, high-tech medical facility. When Leon demanded to know Chloe's whereabouts, Kessler deflected, steering the conversation toward a new surgical procedure designed to repair Leon's spine. "I can make you walk again, son," Kessler promised. Leon scoffed, throwing his mother's death in the politician's face. In a desperate bid for forgiveness, Kessler handed him his mother's final letter. Leon read her fading handwriting, begging him to forgive his father and use his life to protect the vulnerable. Moving out to the facility's courtyard, Leon found a massive refugee camp of specials waiting for the promised cure. Among them was Chloe. She ran to him, apologizing for her doubt, and the bond was restored. But the clock was ticking on Project 42. Armed with a hidden cyber camera borrowed from a local tech merchant, Chloe slipped into the facility's central laboratory through the ventilation shafts, while a special volunteer was rolled onto the operating table. From the rafters, her camera recorded a waking nightmare. The medical machinery whirred to life, driving deep needles into the volunteer's skull to extract raw neurological matter. Below her, Senator Kessler entered, alongside Captain Hughes. Kessler casually explained the horrific science. The genetic compound required live human brain tissue from specials to stabilize, a process that left the donors permanently brain-dead and vegetative. The project wasn't a cure for the masses. It was a slaughterhouse engineered solely to harvest enough material to cure Leon's legs. "And what happens to the volunteers when we're done?" Hughes asked with a cold smile. Kessler didn't blink. "They are expendable. Dispose of them." Chloe raced back to the refugee camp, projecting the horrific footage onto the camp screens. The crowd erupted into fury. Armed with a stolen security key from Chloe, Leon retrieved his upgraded flower-powered armor and stood before the masses. "We fight today, or we die in their labs tomorrow," he roared. The next morning, a smiling Senator Kessler entered Leon's private room holding a vial of the finalized serum. He lunged forward, locking his iron gauntlet around his father's throat and throwing off his sheets to reveal his fully powered battle armor. "I'm not the one who needs fixing," Leon growled, tossing the politician aside and sprinting toward the facility's central broadcast tower with Chloe. While Chloe fought to bypass the government firewall to upload the jackpot footage, Myra kissed Leon through his visor, wishing him luck before he dropped back into the courtyard to face the fire. Captain Hughes stood waiting with a battalion of armored soldiers. "You're out of your depth, boy," Hughes laughed. But as Leon raised his fists, the tents tore open. Hundreds of specials streamed into the courtyard, armed with pipes, scrap metal, and makeshift weapons. The slums rose up. Leon charged through the melee straight for Hughes, trading thunderous blows that dented his titanium plating. Hughes's military-grade armor proved superior, shattering Leon's chest plate and forcing him to retreat back into the main Genesis lab. Inside the high-vaulted arboretum, a battered Leon smashed the controls of the glass dome, attempting to destroy the primary Genesis tree to end the harvesting forever. Hughes intercepted him, executing a brutal spin kick that sent Leon crashing through the reinforced glass. Shards rained down as Leon collapsed into the dirt, his suit completely dead. Hughes drew his weapon, standing over him to finish it. With his final ounce of strength, Leon wrapped his fingers around the roots of the ancient Genesis plant. The flower reacted to his special DNA, violently detonating a localized volley of razor-sharp, toxic thorns straight into Hughes's chest. The captain collapsed into the glass shards, dead. At that exact microsecond, Chloe's upload cleared the firewall,
broadcasting Kessler's confession to every screen in the hemisphere.
Government tactical forces swarmed the complex, arresting the scientists and terminating Project 42. Senator Kessler vanished into the wind, leaving behind nothing but an empty vial of the failed serum. Weeks passed, and the monolithic walls dividing the genetic and special districts were systematically torn down. For the first time in 65 years, specials walked the high plazas as equals,
celebrating the nameless, iron-masked vigilante who bought their freedom.
Walking through the liberated city square with Chloe and Myra, Leon finally smiled, watching the world rebuild itself. But far away, cloaked in the deep shadows of the industrial ruins, a hidden figure watched them through cold eyes. His skin pulsed with an unnatural, unstable genetic glow. Senator Kessler had injected the final serum into his own veins, and he was coming for his son. What do you think about this movie? Let me know in the comments.
And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing recaps.
See you in the next video.